Hello and welcome my dear students and parents. My name is Namo Kaul and this is the second episode of Vedantu Master Talks. In the very first episode, we had the phenomenal DC Pandey sir, the very well reputed, the very famous author of physics books. In the second episode, we have two titans together, my dear students. We have the All India Rank 1 Sarvesh Mehtani of 2017, and for the very first time in the history of IIT JEE and Vedantu Master Talks, we have two titans together. We have the All India Rank 1 Pranav Goyal of this year as well. So my dear students, we are going to get started with these toppers, and with these toppers we have the hosts for the evening, which are our very own Vamsi Krishna sir and Anand Prakash sir on the sets of Vedantu Master Talks. And by the end, we will also discuss what it really takes to really crack these examinations and what one should do in the last few days. So my dear students, with this, let's get started. See you in the end of the Master Talks.
Hello everyone, welcome to yet another episode of Vedantu Master Talks. This is Vamsi, your host for the show. In the Vedantu Master Talks, we bring to you eminent educationalists, famous authors and toppers. So today, we have very special guests in today's session. We have double dhamaka today, right? So we have 2018 All India Rank 1 and 2017 All India Rank 1 both together with us today. So let's welcome Pranav, All India Rank 1 from 2018 and Sarvesh, All India Rank 1 in JEE 2017. Welcome guys. And as always, we also have with us Anand. Anand Prakash Sir has been mentor to countless and countless of students and have been guiding them. We have with us all of these guys who are going to share some of the questions which all of you have been asking. I have some questions which are audience questions. I'll be asking those questions with them. And also they will be giving you some tricks, tips and secrets from their preparation times. So guys, welcome to the show. Right. So how are you feeling?
It's a great experience.
Amazing. So the first question which every one of them would like to ask is, what's the secret to your success? Ki kaise, matlab All India Rank 1 is like, it's insane, right? So kaise? कैसे हुआ है? कुछ सीक्रेट, एनीथिंग विच यू वुड लाइक टू शेयर कि कुछ स्पेशल है, कुछ स्पेशल किया आप लोगों ने? वुड लव टू हियर.
सो बेसिकली मतलब मेरा डिफरेंस ये था कि मैं हार्ड वर्क तो करता ही था, अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट आई वाज लाइक फोकस्ड ऑन कांसेप्ट्स. जनरली वन थिंग जो मैंने अपने कुछ फ्रेंड्स को करते हुए देखा है कि दे जस्ट फॉरगेट कांसेप्ट्स एंड दे आर इनटू जस्ट प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग एमसीक्यूज. एंड व्हाट आई प्रेफर इज आई get into the theory first, spend time on it, and then go for questions. So okay. Like I spent my time on theoretical books also.
चलो सर्वेश, what's your
डाउट्स को अनसॉल्व ना छोड़ना काफी इंपॉर्टेंट है. क्योंकि क्या होता है, हम डाउट्स को अनसॉल्व छोड़ देते हैं एंड देन लाइक फॉरएवर डाउट्स ही रह जाते हैं, और हम यही कहते हैं कि डाउट्स पेपर में आते हैं सीधा. तो डाउट्स को भी अनसॉल्व नहीं छोड़ना चाहिए.
इंटरेस्टिंग. सो आनंद, आई थिंक आई वुड नाउ लाइक टू एड्रेस द सेम क्वेश्चन टू यू. But not just these guys have shared their things, but आपने तो बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स का देखा है. तो टिपिकली कब बच्चे तैयारी करना शुरू करते हैं इस चीज की, and more importantly कब से शुरू करना चाहिए? What would be your suggestion?
See, this is very subjective question because I have seen a lot of students who have started preparing very early. But there is one disadvantage of starting too early because parents I have seen, they ask a lot of questions around 6th standard, 7th standard or 8th standard. But I think that is the time when they should be building their confidence, they should be participating in a lot of other things, because when they move for these kind of preparation, especially JEE, which is very competitive in nature, suddenly their entire life is focused towards that and they don't have any bandwidth to do anything else.
Right.
So typically, as teacher, I suggest that they should start in 9th standard or 10th standard. Right. That's the right time because that is the building block. 11th also, when there are a lot of students who start in 11th and yet I have seen ending up in top 10. But in most of the cases, pressure mounts in 11th because there are a lot of students who are already ahead of them and then they start comparing with them. Therefore, just before that, 9th or 10th is the right time.
Very interesting. So actually, let's talk about that. So 9th and 10th में आप लोगों ने किस चीज पे फोकस किया था? मेरे ख्याल से NTSC की बात आप कर रहे थे. तो just let us know कौन से एग्जाम्स, मतलब which all exams did you really prepare for, and how did you go about that preparation? Right, Pranav, we'll start with you.
So my starting from class 9th, I was focused only on NTSC. Like
NTSC.
My dad was like, NTSC is what you have to do. So, and plus I loved mental ability, which is a very strong need in NTSC. So till class 10th, I was completely focused on NTSC, learning through books, practicing questions, everything.
Perfect.
And apart from that, towards the end, after NTSC period, in class 10th, I had considered JEE. So I had started to read a few books of class 11th of physics, chemistry.
Sure.
Yeah, often hiding it from my parents.
That's interesting. In fact, we'll go to in depth of that JEE preparation of yours. But let's just concentrate on the pre-10th preparation. So Sarvesh, did you prepare for any other exam apart from NTSC? और NTSC की भी तैयारी आपने कैसे करी थी?
NTSC I prepared like I used to go for weekend classes in 9th and 10th. And besides that, मैं 10th class में Maths Olympiad की preparation करता था. So HBCSE conducts Maths Olympiad. So means I just liked maths, so I started preparing for that. उसके अलावा no nothing else. I did a lot of other things in 9th and 10th, like debates and all.
तो यार ओलंपियाड की आपने जिक्र किया ना, वो बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है बिकॉज लॉट ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स हैव एक्चुअली आस्क्ड अस दैट कि ओलंपियाड की प्रिपरेशन कब करते हैं, कैसे करते हैं, लॉट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस अराउंड दैट. सो आई वुड लव टू आस्क दैट क्वेश्चन, सो आई विल कम डाउन टू दैट. बट बिफोर दैट आनंद, आई वुड जस्ट लाइक टू टेक योर कमेंट ऑन द सेम थिंग कि बच्चों को 10 से पहले किन किन एग्जामिनेशंस की प्रिपरेशन करनी चाहिए और कैसे करनी चाहिए.
See, most of these exams, whether you talk about the NTSC or Olympiad, their maximum concentration is on the aptitude part.
Yeah.
Because if you talk about NTSC, 50% is math, which is mental aptitude.
Yes.
If you talk about Olympiad, then it is higher level problem solving. So unstructured problem solving.
Yeah.
So typically when a student starts preparing, I prefer them to prepare spend lot of time on these aptitude type of problems, because there are a variety of problems and that helps them take their level to another zone, because they are not solving a problem of physics or chemistry or maths or bio. They are actually trying to solve an unstructured problem, and through that their level actually just increases.
Very interesting.
And that is how they should start preparing, rather than focused on any subject. And apart from that, preparation of physics, chemistry, maths or biology, which is SAT, typically happens through your regular school preparation.
Right. Very
a little
interesting.
bit extra.
So for all the guys watching here, I think one of the common theme which we got from here is that before 10th, it's not important that you should really start your preparation, JEE preparation right from your 6th, 7th. Okay. I think 9th is probably, somewhat you can think about it, but more importantly, you should concentrate on these other exams like NTSC, which gives you a very good foundation, right, for these exams. Now let's come down to the Olympiad, because we get that question a lot. सबसे पहले तो खूब सारे Olympiads, right? और second class से आजकल तो सुना है, right? So first of all, lot of these parents and students are confused कि Olympiads कौन से देने चाहिए और क्या इतने अर्ली से हमें देना भी चाहिए कि नहीं देना चाहिए, राइट? सो व्हाट इज योर सजेशन टू दैट कि आजकल ओलंपियाड सेकंड क्लास से, राइट? इज देयर एनी बेनिफिट फॉर अ स्टूडेंट टू गिव दीस ओलंपियाड्स?
Personally speaking, what I feel is from class 3rd, I started from class 3rd. This simple MCQ Olympiad. So what I feel is these Olympiads are a great exposure for MCQ type questions. Like, ultimately, this world is shifting to MCQ because you can't really have teachers checking all the papers.
Yes.
So this fact is what I'll say, that you should start for Olympiads, but less. Yes. Because at my time there were hardly any Olympiad. There was only one Olympiad which I knew, SOF.
Yes, sir.
Apart from that, nowadays there are something like 6-7 available. So just choose one and look at the syllabus and go for it.
So choose one good one and give that, right? And also it gets you a rank, तो जिससे पता चलता है कि student probably कहाँ पर है. उससे भी कुछ फायदा होता है क्या?
अगर खराब आए तो डिमोटिवेट नहीं होना है, अच्छा है तो मोटिवेट हो.
अच्छा है तो खुश हो जाओ. सर्वेश, तुम्हारा क्या कहना है इस पे?
मोस्टली इन ओलंपियाड्स का जो लाइक 5th 6th से शुरू होते हैं, इनका बेनिफिट ये होता है आपकी स्पीड बढ़ जाती है. लाइक दिस ओलंपियाड्स एंड एनटीएससी आल्सो, सो दिस बिल्डिंग ऑफ स्पीड हेल्प्ड मी अ लॉट इन 11th एंड 12th फॉर द जेईई प्रिपरेशन. उसके अलावा ओलंपियाड्स का ज्यादा कुछ बेनिफिट नहीं लगा. एंड द अदर ओलंपियाड्स लाइक जो एचबीसीएसई कंडक्ट करता है, लाइक इंडियन नेशनल फिजिक्स ओलंपियाड, मैथ्स ओलंपियाड, केमिस्ट्री ओलंपियाड, देन जीएसओ, these are very important. Like maths Olympiad ka syllabus is completely different from JEE. So get into that if you like maths a lot. Otherwise you can just like get past it. फिजिक्स एंड केमिस्ट्री ओलंपियाड आर ड्यूरिंग द जेई, लाइक 11th and 12th में देते हैं. मींस द सिलेबस इज सेम एज लाइक जेई सिलेबस है, ऑलमोस्ट सेम सिलेबस होता है. So preparing for that is much more important as compared to those like MCQ Olympiads.
Amazing. And you would like to add something to that?
I think these kids have already
Have said
spoken.
that.
Yeah, they have actually taken all the points. Definitely, I would just summarize what they have said.
Yeah.
That it increases your speed. It helps you, getting a benchmark score across the country because a lot of students are giving that test. And the third is, these tests are only building blocks. So do not take it on heart that you are not performing very good.
Yeah.
So you have to just keep practicing towards a singular goal, which is for the future, right? So just enjoy and keep giving these exams.
Amazing. Interesting. Great guys. तो अब चलो शिफ्ट करते हैं थोड़ा सा जेई प्रिपरेशन पे, which is the core topic for the day. तो यार ये बताओ, ये तो आपने बताया कि you started preparing for JEE little bit in your 9th and 10th sort of, but mostly from your 10th end or 11th standard, right? तो जब आपने start किया, right, to that preparation 2 year, what was your typical schedule like? किस तरीके से आप लोगों ने JEE preparation start किया? Many of the students and future aspirants are watching this. तो आप उनको कुछ कहना चाहोगे क्या कि टिपिकली कोई एक स्ट्रैटेजी या कोई एक पैटर्न जो बहुत वर्क किया और बहुत सक्सेसफुल रहा आप लोगों के लिए, राइट, फॉर द स्टार्ट, राइट, जब 11th में एक बच्चा एंटर करता है तो किस तरीके से उसको JEE प्रिपरेशन शुरू करनी चाहिए? फर्स्ट यू कैन टॉक अबाउट हाउ डिड यू डू इट एंड एनी सजेशंस फॉर द स्टूडेंट्स वाचिंग.
So the ideal way I think is 11th में you should focus more on the concepts. Like ऐसा नहीं है कि आप बहुत सारे प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर लोगे 11th में तो कोई ज्यादा बेनिफिट होगा. कॉन्सेप्ट्स को क्लियर रखो 11th में एंड उससे रिलेटेड एक गुड अमाउंट ऑफ प्रॉब्लम्स करो कि आपको कॉन्सेप्ट पता लगे कि आपको क्लियर है. बाकी जितना लाइक अब देखोगे कि आसपास बच्चे ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर रहे हैं, वो 12th के एंड में बहुत टाइम मिलता है तब आप कर सकते हो. तो 11th में आपका मोर फोकस कॉन्सेप्ट्स क्लियर करने में होना चाहिए एंड 12th में लाइक मिक्सिंग कॉन्सेप्ट्स एंड अप्लाइंग देम इन अ लॉट ऑफ प्रॉब्लम्स, उस पे ज्यादा फोकस करो लाइक दैट. एंड 12th के एंड तक आते आते रिवीजन पे.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Pranav, what's your style?
Well, I'd say that for schedules, if he's talking about schedule, then your teachers know what to teach you, but you should know how to grasp it. So
Interesting.
I would say that approximately 2/3 of the hours you study from your teachers should be devoted to self-study.
Okay.
And self-study, like he said, concepts you have to make them strong. Doesn't really matter if you solve questions in class. In starting at least,
Right.
you have to focus on your concepts.
Right.
That's how I would say.
यार आपने ना एक चीज बोली सेल्फ स्टडी. आई थिंक इट्स अ वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग एंड दिस इज ऑल्सो अ वेरी मिसअंडरस्टूड थिंग ऑल्सो इज व्हाट आई बिलीव इन, राइट. ड्यूरिंग योर प्रिपरेशन हाउ मच वाज द सेल्फ स्टडी, राइट, एंड डिड इट चेंज फ्रॉम योर स्टार्ट टू एंड? मतलब 11th में कितना था, 12th में कितना था, 12th के एंड की तरफ क्या था? सो प्लीज शेयर योर हाउ डिड यू गो अबाउट इट, राइट. सो आई थिंक सर्वेश स्टार्ट विद यू.
ओके, सो सेल्फ स्टडी की आपने बात की, होती क्या है? सो सेल्फ स्टडीज क्लास में टीचर ने कुछ पढ़ाया, सो उस चीज को आगे रिवाइज करना, उस कॉन्सेप्ट्स को पूरा क्लियर करना, डाउट क्लियर करना उसमें, एंड देन उससे रिलेटेड कुछ सेट ऑफ प्रॉब्लम्स करना. आई थिंक दैट इज व्हाट डिफाइंस सेल्फ स्टडी. एंड लाइक अगर कोई एग्जाम है तो उसके लिए पढ़ना, लाइक मोस्टली सेल्फ स्टडी इज रिवाइज एंड देन सॉल्व प्रॉब्लम्स ऑन दैट. एंड सेल्फ स्टडी कितना करना होता है 11th में मेरा पर्सनली कितना था, लाइक 5 to 6 hours 11th में, एंड 12th के मिड तक कितना था. 12th के एंड तक आते आते इट grew up to like 8 to 10 hours or around that.
Right. Pranav, what was your thing?
I was a little more relaxed in this matter. I was approximately 3 hours in class 11th. Yeah, but I had a more increasing curve. Like 3 hours up till class 11th, and I was in 5 hours. In class 12th mid, it had reached 6 hours, 6 to 7 hours.
6 hours.
And end of class 12th, 8, 9, 10, like you said.
8, 9, 10 hours. Self study.
Yeah,
Self-study. And the most important point is self-study is really self-study. The time which you spend in going to a tuition or a coaching is not counted in self-study. So I think all of you guys who are watching this, very, very important point. क्योंकि हमें लगता है कि हम, tuition 1, tuition 2, tuition 3 जा रहे हैं, तो all of that is self-study time. But actually it isn't, right? Self-study time is a time which you're actually spending yourself doing problems and doing it yourself, right? So Anand,
इसमें एक चीज ऐड करनी है सेल्फ स्टडी में. लाइक आप डाउट सॉल्व कर रहे हो तो इसका मतलब ये नहीं है डाउट सॉल्व कर रहे हो, कुछ कॉन्सेप्ट कर रहे हो, डाउट आया किसी कॉल करके पूछा, मोबाइल ऑफ होना चाहिए सेल्फ स्टडी के टाइम जितना हो सके. लाइक एक गिवन पीरियड के बाद आप देख लो कोई डाउट्स किससे पूछ सकते हो, लेकिन साथ साथ डाउट्स पूछोगे तो आपको बहुत टाइम वेस्ट होगा एंड आउटपुट कुछ नहीं आएगा.
राइट. इनफैक्ट जो आपने दो चीजें बहुत ही प्यार से बोल दी कि डिस्ट्रैक्शन नहीं होना चाहिए और डाउट्स are actually two very, very big things, and we would like to in fact focus very deep on this, right? So I'll come on to that topic a little while. But before that, Anand, your comment on the self-study. Typically, आपने तो बहुत सारे बच्चों को देखा है, right? तो आपका क्या advice रहेगा यहाँ पे कि self-study and more importantly जो time है जो बच्चे को देना चाहिए preparation के लिए, how should it vary from your 11th standard to the entire preparation?
So it was a very valid point. So there were 2 points here. One was regarding commitment and the way they should proceed from 11 to 12. So the first point is typically building the concepts. And as you are in 11th, you should definitely go in deep of the topics and try to understand as much as possible rather than just solving the problem. And I have seen a lot of students committing this mistake of solving a lot of problems because they feel if they have solved 100 problems of that particular chapter, they're done with that. And they don't focus on concept. And especially when it comes to chemistry, because maths is problem solving. Physics, anyhow, there is a combination of theory plus this. But when it comes to chemistry, most of the students, they try to solve a lot of MCQs or a lot of problems, and they don't focus on the concepts. And one of the most scoring subject, if they don't focus on the concept, then finally it actually comes back to you towards the end when you start, combining a lot of topics, and then you understand in 12 that, oh, I have not understood this much also. So therefore 11 should be completely devoted to concept building. And then when you move to 12th, you should apply yourself through a lot of multi-concept problem, because for example chapters like electrostatic and physics, that combines lot of mechanics theory, right? So if you have done mechanics properly, you don't have to go and again do that derivation, because you already know a lot of derivations which you have done in gravitation chapter. A lot of mechanics is applied there. So therefore 11th is very important, and how you build your 11th is very important. And now coming to the part of self-study.
How many hours to study? Yeah.
How many hours is a very subjective question, Vamsi. But coming to self-study is something which most of the time I feel that students feel that they have gone to coaching, they have understood and learning from a teacher, they are doing a self-study. That is not self-study. Self-study is apart from your school, apart from your coaching, the time that you spend with your books on your own, and that too distraction free. That I think you are coming to that point. That point of time you are only with the books, nothing else, and you're just concentrating that time and giving that time to yourself.
Right.
And that is what I think is very important, essential part of this whole learning process.
So basically, do you guys say that there is no set prescription like कि इतने घंटे पढ़ना है, मतलब ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, मतलब वो कुछ भी हो सकता है, right? As long as आप dedicated और focus के साथ वो hours दे रहे हो. So, is that what you guys are implying?
So we have 2 examples, Vamsi. He studied 3-4 hours. He started with 5-6 hours. But towards the end, both of them, I think, they actually went to 9 to 10 hours.
All right.
Right. So how you build towards the end is also important. That will come, I think, later. But yeah, we would love to hear their points.
So Pranav, any advice to all the guys who are watching this कि अगर आपसे वो पूछें कि कितने घंटे पढ़ने चाहिए, right? तो कुछ advice आपका कि this is the number of hours you should study?
Generally, quality is what will matter.
Yeah.
Quantity will matter to some extent, and that too at a later stage. So
very interesting.
In class 11th, if you have your good quality maintained, in class 12th, your quantity will show.
Very interesting.
It will show at a great rate.
Very interesting.
So the basically thing is, when you're studying, there should be no distraction. You're studying and only studying. And when you're in a break, no issues. Don't study. Don't think of anything else.
Right.
So when you're studying, there should be absolutely nothing, no person, no distraction, no phone call, no music, nothing in your way.
Very interesting. आप क्या बोलोगे सर्वेश, कितने घंटे पढ़ने चाहिए?
खाना, सोना और क्लास लगाना एंड ट्रैवल, और इसके अलावा जितना टाइम बचे सारा पढ़ना चाहिए. थोड़ा ब्रेक हो गया एक दिन में 2-3 आवर्स का, उसके अलावा मोस्टली जितना टाइम बचे ट्राई करो पढ़ लो. Like 11th में 5-6 hours ही बचते हैं.
So very interesting. So I think one very big, and very core, important theme which came out, and especially, Pranav was also mentioning this very specifically, that quality is more important than quantity. कि doesn't matter कि आप 10 घंटे या 15 घंटे पढ़ रहे हो, right? What is important is उस 10 घंटे या 5 घंटे, even 2 घंटे में आप कर कितना रहे हो, right? And that is the most important thing, right? So it's a very important point. In fact, let's go more into the distraction point which you just mentioned. क्योंकि सबसे ज़्यादा problem जो बच्चों को आती है वो ये कि 2 घंटे हमसे पढ़ा नहीं जाते, right? And let me tell you, this is the most commonly asked question from all the parents कि बच्चों को पढ़ाएं कैसे, right? क्योंकि if you make them sit, they don't even sit there for continuously for 2 hours, right? And what you are saying is it's important that they should be doing that distraction free. Any tips for the guys who are watching this, that how do you maintain that focus, the distraction free environment for a sustained amount of time? Like आपने कैसे किया और कुछ tips आपकी तरफ से?
One sacrifice is your phone. Get that Nokia type.
कुछ नहीं है उसमें, Nokia ले लो.
Just calling feature and messaging feature for your parents' contact, because they do get worried if you are gone for a long time. So apart from that, a phone is a major distraction which one can face. And if you're at home, then probably television. But even television is something which you can manage over time,
right.
And that is something that you should. Yeah. But one thing that I will keep specifying is the phone. Just drop it.
सबसे बड़ा distractor phone है.
Just leave it. Right. You can have it in college, and you will get time to use it in college. And you'll have to use it in college.
Yeah.
But before that, you don't really need it.
So सर्वेश, आप क्या बोलोगे उसमें? आजकल क्या है? PUBG है, Instagram है, WhatsApp है. Every time that notification comes, child is distracted. Like, how do you solve for that problem?
So when you are studying, give the phone to your parents. Simple. Like वो तुम्हें नहीं देंगे क्योंकि उन्हें पता है तुम्हें पढ़ना है. And means even if you want to have an Android phone or any good phone, while studying don't keep it near. Otherwise like notification आएगी और फिर distraction होगा. So keep it away from you. बाकी you can have a phone. Means I did not have it personally, but I know students who had it and still achieved good. So it's fine.
Right. Cool. Anand, I mean, would love to take your views here because you have seen many cases, right? And I think every day you must be counseling hundreds of parents and students just on this topic. These guys, what they said is obviously a solution. But I think the most toughest thing is how to implement that solution. Because, that dedication, that focus is the most toughest part, right? So, what would be your suggestion for the aspirants here?
See, here only we have got two point of views. One is like you don't have that phone, and if you can do and manage that, that's the best thing. But in today's world, there are a lot of peer pressure also. And because of that, students and parents also, they give the phone to the kids. The only thing that I suggest is, obviously, first point, if can be done, should be done, but it's not possible in reality. So the second thing is that when you are studying, that time should be your time, and that time should be without any distraction. And that is the time when either you should give it to the parents, and that's the best way, because they will not allow you to take that or use that phone. And for parents specifically, I recommend that when you are stopping it from a kid, the kid becomes rebellious. So when the kid is asking for it, give it, but with on that particular condition that they should not be using it while studying.
And for non-academic purposes.
And for non-academic, yeah. So typically when going to school or when they are in coaching, they are worried about that. Yeah. So typically for contact purpose, but they have to show off. So they should not feel rebel, right? So that is one important thing that I have seen in a lot of kids these days. And the moment you say, so here also a lot of kids watching, they would say, what will I do without phone? And how would I watch this show?
How would you watch this show without the
without
phone?
The phone? But yeah, typically we are all talking about your study hours, and as we say that your self-study when you are doing that should be distraction free.
Right. So I think the main theme here is be distraction free. I mean, phone is not the enemy, technology is not the enemy, right? But I think you should have the discipline and the focus to stay away from it when actually it matters, which is during your preparation time. So the most important thing, what should be the revision pattern, right? कि आई थिंक 11th का होता है, राइट? तो 11th के एंड पे क्या रिवाइज करना चाहिए, राइट? कई बच्चे 12th में जाते हैं और उनको 11th के टॉपिक्स दे डोंट फील वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट अबाउट इट. तो एक बहुत पॉपुलर क्वेश्चन, कॉमन क्वेश्चन आता है कि क्या हमको तब 11th के टॉपिक्स करने चाहिए या 12th ही कंटिन्यू करना चाहिए. और मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंटली 12th का एक बार सिलेबस खत्म हो जाए, विच इज समवेयर अराउंड दिस टाइम, राइट? अक्टूबर नवंबर के टाइम पे वेयर वी आर सिटिंग राइट नाउ, इट हैपेंस. So what should be the way students should think about revision, right? I would want to start with you, Sarvesh. What's your suggestions here?
First, I'll start with means when to revise and then how to revise. So when to 11th के end में like you have around 1 month, मार्च का महीना होता है. इसके अलावा means mostly students are not free. So revise maths means mostly कि maths के सारे topics हैं initially which you might have forgotten जो 11th के शुरू में हुए थे. try to revise those key concepts क्या थे, because those might be applied in 12th. And same with physics. Try to do those two things. Chemistry में you don't need to revise much once you have learnt, like पहले का सारा पढ़ रखा है. In the end of 12th, you should how to revise is maths में take up the notes, like class notes हैं या फिर कोई book है, the standard book which you read. Go through all the problems की कैसे कैसे solve किया था. Because finally JEE में आपका इतना टाइम नहीं होता कि आप हर एक का सोचने बैठो. You should at least learn the standard problems and learn how to apply them. So for revision in maths, see how to solve the standard problems and make a list of formulae. which जो भी chapter कर रहे हो उसका list बना लो and use that for revision. Like रोज आधा घंटा दिया math formulas revise करने के लिए. So make a list of formulas first time जब revise कर रहे हो and then use them for the like next 6 months. Same thing with physics. Revise all the concepts and then solve a given set of problems. For chemistry, like it's different. Physical chemistry के लिए it's similar to maths and physics. Inorganic is पुराने जो concepts से देखे and then learn everything. Like रट्टा मार लो टाइप से, वो literal होता है. Even if you don't like it, you have to do. Organic is like the reaction mechanisms अच्छे से किए, याद कर लिए and then solve a lot of problems on organic chemistry and inorganic chemistry. तभी वो आपके mind में like अच्छे से बैठेगा and then end तक याद रहेगा.
Very interesting. That's amazing. That's very insightful. Pranav, आपका क्या revision strategy? What would your revision strategy? What would you recommend?
Well, personally speaking, अगर हम preparation से बात करें, तो I generally spend more time on chemistry in class 11th, which
okay.
I sometimes repent I did, because in class 11th your primary focus should be on physics and maths, so that you're actually able to get the concepts. Because like he said, there's extreme application in class 12th of the concepts you learn in class 11. So definite focus of revision and preparation in class 11 should be physics and maths. Don't lose your chemistry, because you have physical chemistry and that too is very conceptually required. And in class 12th, your focus can shift towards chemistry because you have higher quantity of organic and inorganic. And personally speaking, I've also felt that when you're revising chemistry, get everything into yourself. Like, don't leave out stuff.
Achha.
When you get into it, complete it.
Okay.
Because I might be JEE specific,
Yeah.
but at least in JEE, there are questions in which there will be 3 to 4 steps. And if you have left out just one topic, you will probably get stuck at the 3rd or the 4th step.
Okay.
And it's a waste. Like, you prepared so much and you wasted the question just because you refused to learn one topic.
Okay.
So the revision should be complete and thorough.
So you are saying the coverage of chemistry should be complete. मतलब maths physics में coverage फिर भी कम हो चलता है, but
No, not at all.
Okay.
Physics and maths too, you have to go complete.
Okay.
But in chemistry specifically, because in physics and maths, often what happens is
Right.
you can take up after a certain stage. Like you are stuck at the 3rd step, then you can actually get it through.
Right.
But in chemistry, there's no chance. You have to
Interesting.
get it or you don't get it.
और 11th के एंड पे और 12th के एंड पे कैसे रिवीजन करना चाहिए और आपने कैसे किया था?
Class 11th के end पे personally revision की ज़्यादा ज़रूरत नहीं होती.
Okay.
So you can actually skip it or you can do it.
Okay.
That's a matter of subject. But after class 12th, personally speaking, you should start revision from class 11th.
Class 11th, right.
Really
And how
revise
many
class
months
11th.
would you recommend to spend on that? 12th खत्म होते ही कितने महीने 11th वापस रिवाइज करना चाहिए?
Okay, depends on how early you finish class 12th.
Okay.
But then again, at least 1.5 months.
1.5.
Class 11th complete.
Alright.
And class 12th के लिए, if you have lesser time left, it's actually alright. No issues, because 12th is fresh in your mind.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Anand, what would your recommendation be for revision? What should be the revision strategy? Especially given that we are, sitting in this month where 12th just khatam ho raha hoga, right?
See, there are two aspects. If we talk about 11th and 12th, and most of the points these guys have covered. But one thing I would like to add on the top of that when you are starting your 12th, do not think about your 11th. Yeah. Because when you are starting your 12th, and that's most of the students keep asking me that whether I should revise 11th at that point of time or not. So I recommend that at that point of time, you should focus completely on 12th, because you have already done whatever you have done in 12th, and then try to finish it as fast as possible. By the time September, so September is the maximum time that I would recommend. You should not go beyond your September to cover the entire syllabus. So September end, maximum October end, and then you should start your revision. Start with 11th standard, because that is where there is a huge gap.
Yeah.
And then slowly mix your 11th and 12th. So initially you do a lot of part topics, which means 11th and 12th, and then do a lot of mixed kind of a topic, because your application in 12th should increase if you really want to score very high. And therefore especially you should at that point of time, even if you're revising your 11th, you should do problems which are multi-concept problems, because that will help you build lot of stuff which will be helpful in the competitive exams like mains and advanced.
Very insightful. Yeah. Great.
But most of the points, I think, apart from this, they have already covered. And one thing in revision, never panic. Whether you have a coverage or not, go in depth of whatever you are covering, because that is extremely important. Most of the time, I feel that students, and these guys are dedicated themselves, but I'm talking about in general, most of the students, they feel that they have to cover just for the sake of covering. And for that, they just solve problems and just rush through the syllabus.
Yes.
But if you are able to even do 60% or 70% of the syllabus, go in depth of that. Do not try to cover the entire thing if you are not able to.
So Anand, that's a great point. I would want to go in deep of that. Like I would want you to probably elaborate on that part, because I'm sure Pranav and Sarvesh, I'm AIR-1s, there is no way you would not have done 100% coverage, right? I'm sure you guys would have done 100% coverage, right? But there are a lot of students, right, who find that once they have completed their 12th, there are a lot of topics which they think they are very weak in, right? And sometimes they struggle in doing the 100% coverage. So Anand, I would like to start with you on this, right? कि अगर 100% नहीं कर सकते, right? तो is it okay, right? और 100% करना ही है, और अगर नहीं कर सकते तो what should be the strategy to decide on that 60% or 80%? एक तो percentage कितना होना चाहिए और how to go about it?
See, it's a very subjective question because it depends on the student's level and their preparation or their coverage till now.
Yeah.
And typically, if you are in the zone of 40% and 50%, you should typically try to cover around 60 to 70%. And in that, try to excel it in such a way that you are getting 80% out of that. So finally, you will be able to end up getting 55 to 60% in your final exams, which will somewhere give you typically give you a seat in JEE Advanced.
So quick question there. How do I know whether my coverage is 40% or 80%?
So best way to do it is at the end of your 12th, give a benchmark test or give a mock test, which will give you a roughly idea, because in the test, your scores, if you are going to any coaching or you are preparing on your own, try to find mock tests. There are plenty of them. Give one mock test and try to analyze your 11 separately and 12 separately if you don't know your level, because I'm dead sure that most of the students, they know their level by now, right, where they are. So if you don't know, give a mock test and try to analyze your level and then look for your coverage. And typically how to select this topics, there are a list of very important topics which should be covered and which cannot be left. For example, these guys have been telling about chemistry. Chemistry is very scoring in all the exams. It is mains, take mains or advanced, they're very, very scoring. So you should try to cover as much as possible in chemistry. And most of the time I see that students, they keep on doing lot of weak topics in this last 6 months, which they should not be doing. They should actually focus on very strong topics which they already have identified. For example, let's say mechanics in 11th. That is not very easy to understand for most of the students. And I have seen a lot of students doing and putting a lot of energies and time into mechanics and wasting their time, because that will not help in exams. Rather than that, if they would have actually given time to modern physics, optics, waves, sound, topics like that, or topic like inorganic, which is like you can memorize it fast and at least retain it in the last days also, and you can start in the last days. In maths, coordinate geometry, vectors and 3D. So all these topics are very important, and if they concentrate on that, there is a very good chance that they will get a seat in all the competitive exams and they will clear that.
Very interesting. That's a great insight. Thanks for that. So it's around how do you manage time with so many things out there. We talked about the material of the coaching institute or the tuition, wherever they are going. Second is we talked about NCERT books. Third is we spoke about even the other books, which Pranav and Sarvesh mentioned, and there are quite a lot of them, right? Now comes the fact that time being limited, right? How do a student prioritize and how does he manage time between all these three components? Yeah. So how would you suggest, a student approaches this?
Vamsi, this is a very important point, because right now, all the students who are watching this and the parents who are watching this may be writing down the names of the books that these guys have said, right? And trust me, with your school, with your coaching, with your, so less time for self-study, you can't finish all these books, right? If you are not there in the top ranks. And what Pranav said earlier, and I would just, take that point, that if you're picking any book, for example, NCERT, first you have to complete that book. And what is important here is to complete that book. But most of the time what we feel is that we have done something from this book, then we move to another book, do something from there, move to another book, do something from there. And in that whole process, maybe miss out a lot of things. Yeah. So therefore, NCERT, as we said in chemistry, you have to pick it out. If you completed that, then pick up any book or coaching material. It's one or the same thing. And you can pick up your coaching material depending on what your teachers are suggesting. That is also important. But NCERT in chemistry is important. In physics, if you are doing NC Verma, then post that you can do your coaching material, right? And towards the end, you can, once you have completed your syllabus, you can go for another books as well. But during your preparation of 1.5 years, 11th and 12th, till the time your 12th is going on, you should stick to these two things. NCERT, coaching material, or in physics, HC Verma and coaching material. So this is what I would recommend. In maths, any book is good enough, plus the coaching material, if you are able to do it. But first book and then coaching material. Or as Sarvesh said, you can, in maths, you can flip also depending on how good is your coaching material. So if it is very good and if you trust on that right from the beginning, you can do that also.
So summarizing, Anand, you are saying in chemistry, NCERT is the must and mostly should be the starting point, and then probably you can graduate to your material and then the books, right?
Yes.
But in maths, depending on how good is your material, you can either start with the material and then go on to the books, right? Or the other way around, right? And in physics, it's essentially material of wherever you're going and then the books.
No, in physics, the first starting point is concept, because concept is very important. So book is the starting point, HC Verma is the starting point. And then you can follow it by coaching material.
The material and then probably the other books, right?
Yeah.
So guys, any other pointers or any other suggestion on top of what Anand sir just said? Pranav, anything from your side?
Just one point, that HC Verma is a book. You cover it, it's okay. But don't leave out your concept, because HC Verma, there's this one issue with NC Verma, that it might leave out some topics mentioned in NCERT. Right? So I definitely don't recommend that you read NCERT side by side, because it might feel as a waste of time to some, and it did to me. Look up the concept in your NCERT and read it from another book. This is one issue with HC Verma that I'd just like to point out, because it has some topics which are not at all relevant. It has missed some topics which are relevant.
Yes.
So just plug that, because HC Verma was originally, probably, I don't think it was designed for JEE initially.
Yeah. Interesting. Sarvesh, any other point from your side in terms of like sequencing क्या करनी चाहिए बच्चों को इस time पे? क्योंकि इतना सब, all these things are there, right? School stuff is there, ठीक है, coaching material is there, books आप लोगों ने बताया वो भी है, right? So in terms of sequencing, what Anand sir said, on top of that, any other suggestion or any other pointers from your side?
Mostly I think Anand sir ने cover कर दिया.
Actually, no other pointers from your side. Cool, perfect. So I would like all of you guys to expand on just this bit which Sarvesh just started, कि solution नहीं देखने चाहिए, but then कब तक नहीं देखने चाहिए. So what should be the approach there? कैसे पढ़ाई करनी चाहिए बच्चों को यहाँ पे, especially when they are solving this question? I mean, Pranav, would you like to just start and then Sarvesh will come in?
I'd just say that looking at a solution is memorizing it, and if you are getting the solution, then you're understanding it. So that's probably the difference between looking at the solution and getting the solution. And personally speaking, in class up till class 10th, when I reflect back, I feel that there were times when I just looked at the solution. And I probably repent at it now. But in class 11th, my teachers had told me, and I learned it, do not look at the solution, think on it. Okay, then again, you don't have infinite time. So, well, you can say for mathematics, you have to spend more time. In chemistry, it's alright if you don't get a topic, because in chemistry, there are a variety of questions which you have to just understand how to solve, and not infinite. Like in maths, you can always get new questions and you won't know how to solve them. So that's what I'd say. And in physics, there are new questions, but there are standard ones also. For the standard ones, if you don't get them in the first try, it's alright looking at the solution, because solution solving is also something that you can learn.
तभी कितनी fight मारनी चाहिए? मतलब if I'm not getting a question, right? Should I keep on attempting it 2 times, 3 times, right? 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 1 ghanta, right? Is there any guideline to the guys watching this?
So, like you said, that you can often skip a question. That's not an issue. But like Sarvesh said, if you skip it completely, you didn't learn from it. So you have to learn from it. So what often it so happens that people go after numbers, and numbers do matter also because they are what give you mental confidence. I've solved these many questions. It's important. So when you're solving the questions, if you don't get a question, you can leave it, go to the next one. But don't leave it in the first glance. First glance leaving is the worst idea because it just might turn out that you have to add 2 numbers. You just can't see where to add them.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Sarvesh, any other further inputs on that point?
Okay, so जब हम like solving कर रहे हैं तो कुछ reasons होते हैं कि problem solve क्यों नहीं होता. First reason होता है concept पढ़ाया ही नहीं. So that's not your fault. वो पढ़ा देंगे, जब पढ़ा देंगे आपसे हो जाएगा. Second thing होती है concept clear नहीं है. उसका like इसका बस एक ही तरीका है, theory पढ़ो, concept clear करना पड़ेगा. Third thing क्या होती है, बच्चा कहता है मैंने पढ़ भी लिया, मेरे concept भी clear है, फिर भी मेरे से problem solve नहीं हो रहा. तो उसका एक ये बहुत बड़ा reason होता है कि हमें याद नहीं होता हमने पढ़ा क्या था. एक पूरा चैप्टर पढ़ लिया, अब हमें चैप्टर के बीच में कुछ एक फॉर्मूला पढ़ा था वो याद ही नहीं है और यहाँ पे उसकी एप्लीकेशन है. सो अगर ऐसा होता है तो आफ्टर यू कंप्लीट अ चैप्टर गो थ्रू द चैप्टर वंस अगेन कि उसमें गेट अ क्लोजर ऑन दैट की एंड नोट डाउन द फॉर्मूले. लाइक यू कैन डू दिस नोटिंग डाउन अ फॉर्मूले इन द रिवीजन टाइम आल्सो और चैप्टर के साथ साथ बिकॉज वंस यू लर्न द थिंग ये वो कॉन्फिडेंस कि अगर मेरे से नहीं हो रहा तो मतलब मैंने पढ़ा नहीं है, मतलब मेरे को कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं पढ़ाया गया. सो लर्न मीन्स हैविंग अ फ्लो ऑफ द चैप्टर इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर द overall confidence.
और any recommendation on कि एक क्वेश्चन पे कितनी देर लगे रहना चाहिए?
Okay, so that depends from person to person. मेरे लिए personally क्या था, like maths के लिए, especially like maths problems take a lot of time, maths and physics. So once I solved like 10 minutes लगा दिए, then I used to move on to the next problem. Come on to that a day later. If I'm able to solve that, then fine. If I'm not able to solve, I directly means I look up the solution because otherwise ये like it piles up and then हमेशा के लिए रह जाता है. And you can just like look up the solution this time and apply this to a later problem. Like you are learning finally, right? And you means devoted your amount of time. So I think 10 minutes is I think more than enough for a standard problem.
Alright. Anand, any additional inputs on this question?
See, apart from this, obviously it depends on the type of student you are and how much time you are going to devote because in the initial time, so I will divide this into the initial time of your preparation when you start your preparation and towards the end of your preparation, right? Because every time the type of doubt that you will get will be different.
Very interesting.
So initially when you are starting a chapter, the doubt may be very conceptual and that if you rush towards the teacher to actually get it, you may not be able to, imbibe that concept. That is very important in the initial days and therefore you should give more time to that question. And maybe in the day, if you're solving only 2 or 3 problems, doesn't matter because initially what matters is the concept. But as you proceed towards 12th and later on when you have less time and you have to do a lot of problems and apply yourself, then you may skip the problem as Pranav mentioned or after 1 or 2 attempts, but you should give 1 or 2 attempts. Then you should ask your teachers that what is the solution. Most of the time, I personally don't advise them asking with their friends because sometimes what happens, and I have a case in example, I have seen a lot of students doing that, and especially this happened in case of one of the topper student, that when you discuss, that student might give you correct answer but may also give you the wrong answer because he is also in the same boat, right? So when you are going to a teacher, you will get a right answer to it, or if you are solving any book, you should look at solution after 2 or 3 attempts. Especially you should not ask your friends because most of the time it may happen that you are learning the things, but if it's a concept which you don't know, right, then you should not ask. But learning is good among friends.
Well, I think that's a very important point, guys, because I think most of the students commit this mistake. They give up too easily, or when they give up too easily, they don't retain anything. I think retention is most important. I fondly remember, Anand, during my own JEE preparation days, I used to give even 6 hours on a problem in physics, right?
Yeah, so our time was subjective one,
Yes.
and obviously that time we required more of concept.
Yes.
Today in the objective world, they have to apply, and for every question they have 2 to 3 minutes time.
Yes.
And for that, obviously, if you have 2 to 3 minutes, typically that also gives us a time frame that on a question you should spend not more than 30 minutes if it's an objective. But again, depends on the time of preparation. Initial days, lot of time.
No, that's a great point, guys. No, thanks a lot for that. And it's very important for all the guys watching that don't give up on a question very easily, because if you don't exert yourself, you don't retain it. Brain needs to be exerted, right? That's most important. Amazing. So moving on, Anand, what would be your inputs here on this test taking and test strategy overall?
Vamsi, I think this is one of the most important part of your preparation, because most of the time I have seen students coming to me and telling that I don't give test because after the test my parents will ask my rank.
Yeah.
Right? And what will I tell them? So typically this happens with most of the kids. Sometimes for that they start finding a lot of excuses that I'm not prepared well, or my syllabus is just finished before the exam. So test, as both of them were telling, is not about your rank. It's not about anything else but to analyze your strengths and weaknesses. So you should know where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are, so that post on the D day when you are giving the mains paper or advanced paper, you are sure that these are the questions that you are not going to leave, or these are the questions which you are going to leave, or these are the kind of silly mistakes which you should avoid. So this is the importance of tests. And now regarding one of the most important aspect of it is post the test what you should be doing. And it's there that you learn the most. And there I tell students a few things, and that is ABCD. I have conceptualized a funda, which A stands for the concepts which you do not know. B stands for concepts which you know but you don't know its application. C is broken into two parts, C1, C2, which is calculative silly mistake and reading silly mistake. And D is the questions which are easy but you have not attempted in the paper. And if after the test you mark each questions, against each question you mark these points, then you will be able to understand what kind of mistakes you are doing, what kind of questions you are leaving. And if it is A, you can easily go back to your teachers and say, sir, the concept is not known, or you can read the theory for that. In C, especially the calculative silly mistake, because as Sarvesh was mentioning, that 3 plus 2, we write 6 many a times because of the stress environment. That will be avoided once you start understanding, because everyone follows a pattern. And there is a fixed pattern sort of a thing. After 4 or 5 analysis, you will understand that this is your particular pattern. And then once you know, you will be able to minimize it, if not avoid it. And the third towards the end is preparing your body and mind for that particular D-Day. And for that, you have to give the test in the same test environment, what Sarvesh was mentioning earlier. So these are few points on the top of what they have said. But definitely would love to hear Pranav's view also there, that during the test, how he maintained that calm and composure.
Precisely. Thanks, Anand, for those, the many inputs. I think very important points for all the aspirants to, in fact, note down. These are very, very important and very precious. Moving on, Pranav, just carrying on that, examination din ki mein, right? बहुत चीजें होती हैं. There's like lot of stuff happening, super stressed environment. You are prepared for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years for that day, right? How do you manage that stress on that day? Things to do's or not to do's for that particular day. Any tips from your side on that?
Well, first of all, okay, if there are parents listening to this, do not stress out your child.
There are a lot of parents listening to this, so yeah.
So it does not really, like, even that just God forbid he is not able to perform well in that exam, there's always a second opportunity or a different way where he'll go, right? So luckily my parents never pressurized me, and they were always mentally prepared in case I did not have a good exam. That is one thing, that be mentally prepared for a negative situation. Then again, when you give an exam, there should be no mental block. Like, exam is a different mode. You can actually define something called exam mode, where there is nothing but the question paper and the questions in front of you which you have to solve. Just solve, nothing else. And obviously not get distracted too. On my JEE day, I was actually unfortunate in the sense that my competitor from my batch, he was sitting right in front of me. So like, even the thought that if I look at his face and he's confident and I'm stuck at a question, then my confidence will be shattered. So
very interesting.
Don't look at others while you give exam. Just don't. It's you who's giving the exam, and forget everyone else. So that is one point. And when you're attempting the exam, you have to maximize your score. That is all that matters. Does not matter whether you have solved it properly or you have used a simple idea. You have just got to the answer.
Any shortcut method, yeah.
Doesn't matter. Ultimately, score is what will matter to the world.
Very interesting. Sarvesh, कोई और points उसके ऊपर exam day के दिन के लिए.
Okay, so 2-3 things. Prepare all the like documents and ऐसा कुछ चाहिए होता है for the final exam day. Prepare them well because final exam then means you realize you don't have your Aadhaar card or something. So things it panics you and then final exam पे वो effect पड़ता है. And like मेरा Aadhaar card match नहीं हुआ था. There was some problem. So to avoid those all mistakes, like prepare everything well before one day before. Don't draw any kind of attention to you. Otherwise, like it means again you will panic. Like night shoot में paper then चल जाओ. That's the best thing. No one cares about you then. And no, that's all. I think.
That's all. Anand, any additional pointers from your side on things to do and things not to do on that day?
On this particular thing, I think I can go off for an entire day and still I will not be finished. Because there are a lot of things which you should not do on that day, right? For example, as he was mentioning, I've seen a lot of students, getting dressed for the occasion as if it is an occasion, right? And they're putting stress on themselves because the exam should be in a very comfortable environment. Then for parents who are listening, most of the time what they do is, beta ye kha lo aaj ke din, right? They will actually give you that curd and sugar. And what happens is unknowingly or knowingly, you are passing on that pressure to your kids, right? And this happens with most of us because we have all gone through that phase and pressure. And trust me, we should all avoid these things. And apart from that, you should eat very light. If you are writing a JEE Advanced, which will be later, right? First you have to prepare for mains. But in JEE Advanced, during that 2 hours, as Sarvesh was mentioning, that you have to plan that well in advance, that what you are going to do. Yes. Because that 2 hours is also very critical time. If you get tired, it will impact your paper 2. If you take whatever mistakes you have done in paper 1 to paper 2, then also it will reduce your marks in paper 2. So a lot of things to be there, but I would just curtail it. And on the top of that, I would recommend every student to bring that exam condition in home, especially during the last phase of preparation.
Yes.
That most of the time at home we are relaxed while solving a problem. But during the last few days, either we should be giving lot of tests, as Sarvesh was mentioning, every week we should be giving two or more than 2 tests, yes, right? Or when we are solving problem at home during that phase, we should be time bound.
Exactly.
Right? So maybe 3 hour or 4 hour we should fix ourselves and give lot of, even while solving the problem, we should do that.
Right. So amazing points those. I mean, amazing points. I think all you aspirants should definitely, take a note of this and implement it. I think my one personal favorite is students studying between the gap with books, right? And that's my personal favorite, right? They just, I see so many students doing this, and that's a big mistake. Don't you agree, guys? I mean, you studying in that gap, right, causes stress. And does it help? I mean, what's your opinion on it?
So in fact, I would like to add a point there. So I remember 5 or 6 years back, we started a trend. What we used to do is, in fact, that was an analysis post one of the student, Shubham, who got All India rank 6. With him, when I was analyzing his preparation, I realized that his score in the paper 2 used to decrease drastically as compared to paper 1. And then with discussion with him, we realized that he felt little bit tired during the paper 2. Post all the discussion and everything, we realized that he should sleep between these, this 2 hours. And for that, we started asking him to sleep, and he used to sleep on bench initially, and then we had that mattresses available for him during that 2 hours. But that really helped him. And when he went, after 15 days of time, we saw that his paper 2 marks increased by 20%, which is not a mean thing. And he was scoring an average of 65 to 66% in the initial days. From there, he actually took it to 75 just by doing this. And from 75, finally he went to 84, 85, and on the given day he got that percentage.
Very interesting.
So this is what we, started that, and I think that is one of the good practices. That if you can take a nap of 15-20 minutes, that would be very good for paper 2. You will be very fresh.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Just cutting on the paper 1 and paper 2 thing, right? I'll have a question for Pranav. Pranav, I think you gave this JEE online. JEE Advanced became online, and I think you were the first batch for, on which this was experimented with, right? Is there any difference you found from that offline to online, and any suggestions for the students now, because they would also be appearing for the same, on things to do little differently, if at all there is any?
Well, I'd say that it's more of a fear.
Okay.
Personally, I was extremely afraid of knowing the fact that my senior had an offline exam and I had to give an online one. So yes, there is a difference in preparation, definitely. When you're preparing for an online exam, there is this mouse you have to control. So, and just suppose it stops working, then you're all panicky. It's like something like this won't happen if you're in an offline test.
Yes.
So one thing is that system issues might occur, but JEE conduction is very professional, so don't worry about that. Your preparation should go on same. I would definitely recommend students to have mock online tests.
Yes.
That is extremely essential, because at least in our time we had several tests conducted, just so that you can get accustomed to looking at the screen for 3 hours, and in fact in advanced 6 hours.
6 hours.
So that's an eye pain.
Very important. Yeah. Very, very, very important point, that take more tests, take more mock tests in the same and simulate that environment. Is there any fundamental difference between test 1 and test 2, as in paper 1 and paper 2, in your opinion? Or, the approach should be similar for both of them? What's your sense, Sarvesh, there?
I don't think there is a difference so हमारी तरफ से कोई difference नहीं होना चाहिए. The pattern can be different, but you anyways don't know the pattern of JEE Advanced. So means for your approach should be same. Like Sir said, you should sleep in between the gap and not discuss the paper in the gap, because that's very important. Otherwise, otherwise you take that stress to the paper too, and that means reduces your score further. So don't discuss the paper in the break. Sleep, eat, and 2 hours will pass anyways. It's because you have to reach the center half an hour before or something. So
I think not discussing the paper in the break, I think would be the most important advice from that, thing. It's very, very critical. Yeah. Any difference in approach, Pranav, from your side required?
No difference, but an add-on would be, when you are sleeping or relaxing during the 2 hours, leave alone discussing, don't even think of the paper. Right? Don't even try to analyze whether you solved a particular question correctly or not. Because suppose you didn't solve it correctly, then it is going to affect your next one. And also, I often heard, having passed it, I've heard that my peers say that second paper was tougher than the first one. Frankly speaking, now if you look at the papers, you'll find them to be equal.
Yeah.
So that tougher, like Sir said, it's all because you're tired.
Right.
So I took a nap between my 2 papers, and I felt it made a difference.
That's amazing. That's a great, that's a great takeaway from this. And also adding, just, my comment on that one point is, I also get to hear that a lot. Ki paper 1 tough tha, chemistry tough tha, right? Or pattern alag aa gaya. I think one recommendation there, an advice is, if it's tough for you, it's tough for everyone. Yeah. Right? And also that's something which, students should always bear in their mind, right? And one very important question, there are a lot of parents watching this session, right? And I would like to start with you on this. What should be the role of a parent during this entire 2-year preparation, right, for his child?
Vamsi, it's a very difficult question. Because I've been doing more of a parent counseling than a student counseling, because they require the most. Most of the parents, they were of the board generation, and for them, segregating the board as versus the competition is a big challenge, and they feel that if a student mark decreases in school, then they should focus more on school.
Yes.
Right. Typically, that doesn't happen, because if a student is honestly preparing for any one thing, then parents should leave that to the teachers, and they should have complete faith on the teachers who are teaching the kid. And all the doubts that the parents have, they should not discuss with the kids directly. They should first discuss with the teacher, and whatever advice the teacher is giving to the parent, then they should accordingly discuss it with the kid. Otherwise, unknowingly and knowingly, they are passing on that pressure. And most of the time I've heard parents saying that I don't interfere. But unknowingly, because a kid is always interacting, they know how the parents behave. And when they see that after a test, suppose the kid's rank has gone down, suddenly parents are very, almost lost. And that kid absorbs it. And that should not happen. So they should leave everything to the teacher and have complete faith on them, whoever is the teacher.
Pranav, how did it go with you? And any advice for the parents watching this?
Well, I was extremely fortunate because my dad was always a motivation for me and never a pullback.
Yes.
Like there were times when I felt that I cannot get this concept clear or I cannot clear this Olympiad or anything. His reaction would be, leave it. It's okay. Like you have to try to get it, but if you don't get it, then beyond the point you can leave it. So okay, naturally I didn't leave it ultimately, but yeah, it was a relaxation in the mind.
Right.
So I would say that parents should not interfere in your child's preparation.
Right.
Keep them updated. Keep yourself updated
Right.
with what the teacher tells you and with what little the student tells you himself.
Alright.
Don't go barging in.
And be supportive.
Be supportive. Definitely be supportive.
Be supportive. Sarvesh, any other points on top of that? Nothing much. Amazing. So I think that's a lovely takeaway for all the parents over here. And moving on, the stress factor is a very big factor, right? We have talked about so many things, right? We have spoken about so many books, कितने घंटे पढ़ने चाहिए, school को, board को कैसे balance करना चाहिए, right? How do you cope up with stress, guys? I mean, so stressful, right? I think you like came first in one of the most toughest exam in the entire world, right? What do you recommend kids do, right, to manage that stress and to stay motivated during this entire preparation of like 2 years, 3 years, जो भी है? तो Sarvesh, any suggestions, inputs? I know it's a tough question, but yeah.
Okay. So if you talk about the motivation, thing is the glamour if you get a good result. Think about it, after 2 years you will be in college, so you can have all the fun in the world that you want. So just prepare for these 2 years, get into a good college, and I'm telling you, better the academics, better all other facilities. Like at IIT Bombay, you have all sports facilities, all cultural facilities, the best gym, I think. And means that's the motivation, I think. That's because my motivation was like I had to be on that TV or something. And means how to be stress free. I personally used to listen to music or just sleep. Sleep is a very nice stress reliever. Or like go for a movie after 2 weeks or something. Not very frequently, but yeah, I used to go for movies like 2 weeks ke baad chale gaye and stuff like that. Otherwise, just study.
Very interesting.
Spend time with family. What I felt is that if your parents are not too much involved in your academics, then discussing with your family, discussing with your siblings if you have any, not academics but general stuff, like about their lives basically, not focusing on your acads. Like Sarvesh said, I went for a movie every week. Yeah, I was more frequent in class 11th, not in class 12th, in class 11th. And avoid television and media.
Right.
I prefer take a walk. Taking a walk is a great idea for stress relief.
Very interesting. Amazing. This is great, guys. I really hope the students can use some of those techniques, and we can't say that it can be zero stress, right? But of course, reduce stress as much as possible. Amazing. Talking about JEE preparation, I think there is JEE Mains, JEE Advanced, and boards, right? Many students, they prepare for all three of them. Many students are confused कि इन तीनों के बीच में कैसे balance करना है. So quickly, we want you guys to comment on कि how do students should go about optimizing for this, boards, JEE Mains, JEE Advanced, कैसे prepare करना चाहिए इन तीनों चीजों के लिए, right? Pranav, I would like to start from you, right? And
well, I'd say that the boards preparation do not actually require a specific amount of time. So like pre-boards are actually a very great starting point for complete preparation for boards.
Okay.
That is the time when you should forget your mains and advanced for some time, for like that's around 2 weeks gap.
Okay.
So at that time, just focus on your boards and forget your mains and advanced.
Okay.
Once boards are complete, mains is generally right in line.
Right.
So, and frankly speaking, boards and mains preparation is not quite different. It's the practice of MCQs which you should have done beforehand, which will matter for mains.
Right.
But for advanced, like once mains is over, then just go for higher concepts, go for higher problem solving, and shift your focus from mains, because there are topics which are common not common in mains and advanced. There are topics which are skipped in advanced.
Yes.
So you can literally skip them out.
Yes.
And the topics which are more focused on in advanced, you should study them in depth and spend more time on them.
Interesting. Sarvesh, JEE Mains or JEE Advanced की preparation में, what's the difference and how should student, just change that guess there?
Okay. So I'll add on like boards also in that. Like see boards, mains and advanced. So boards से just पहले you should literally read the chemistry and physics NCERT completely as much as you can, because this will help you. Means उसके अलावा boards and mains में फर्क क्या बचा? Like for boards you just have to see just the mock papers for how to write the solutions. Besides that, the NCERT is complete for boards, and like this reading of NCERT will help you for mains and advanced both. And इसके बाद like boards are done, so you can just NCERT you have read, so you don't have to care much about the NCERT. Chemistry you can read, but physics I don't think you need to read again and again. Then just solve the MCQs for mains and revise the old stuff. Once the mains is done and you have to start for advanced, what you should do for physics and maths is revise the formula sheets that you have made during the first round of revision, because that's the best and fastest way to revise all the concepts of maths and physics and not miss out on anything. And then just solve a set of problems for like the topic, a good set of problems. For chemistry, like Sir said before, denote 1 hour for learning of inorganic chemistry every day, half an hour or 1 hour, so that it means you are in a habit and you keep it retained till the end. For organic and physical, it's again like revise everything, and for physical, create a formula sheet again and learn that, and then solve a set of problems in a timed manner, like 90 minutes, 30 problems or 60 problems, 60 tough problems or 30 tough problems, and then take doubts of that and write those in the doubt notebook or anything, so that you can revise that and take it till the end.
Interesting, very interesting. Anand, one very important question, which is very recent actually. If you know, JEE, pattern got, in fact, schedule got changed, and recently they have introduced 2 JEE Mains. One is going to happen in the month of Jan, and the other as usual. This is very different from what it used to be a year back, and there's a lot of panic around this, right? So this is one of the most popularly asked questions from the parents also, that what difference should a child make now accommodating this, right? Is there any change required, right? And how should, so what is basically your advice to the students, who is going to appear for these exams?
See, I think only thing that has changed here is the timing of the pre-boards versus this exam.
Yes.
Because most of the school, they have their pre-boards at that same time during the mains, and because of that they have preponed it. And most of the coaching institute, because this is the first year, they have fast forwarded the preparation, and because of that lot of end topics are left out. So I would just recommend parents as well as students that do not panic at this point of time, because you can take this January test as the main test. You should all attempt it, right? Because I think date has already announced and most of the people have already applied for it. So you should definitely attempt it. But even if it goes wrong, there is always an option in April, right? And for good students, it's a very good opportunity, because they will finish the mains in January only, and they will have a lot of time for advance, right? So it's a good opportunity in a way, because if you are really going for advance, then main doesn't matter that much. Yeah. And even if your rank little bit shifts here and there, you have more time for advance. But for masses, this is very critical, and you should not panic, because you have an advantage of an April exam, and January can actually act as a mock test for you.
Very interesting.
So if you give a test and suppose it is very good, it's good, you go ahead and prepare for advance. But if by chance you are not able to perform well, then you have 3 more months to prepare, and exactly on the topics that you know that you have not performed well in this exam.
Very interesting.
So this is, I think, in a way, it is good for the kids and good for the masses. Even the toppers can have an advantage, and average kid definitely have an advantage.
Amazing. So in fact, all of you guys listening, it's a blessing in disguise. It's basically what you are saying.
Yeah.
Amazing. So in fact, Anand Sir has given you a simple trick to get into the top 50,000. All right. It's been lovely, guys. Thanks a lot. Thanks for your time, right? And for all the students, parents, aspirants, everyone watching, thanks a lot for your time as well. And I hope you really benefited. All right. So this is us signing off. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye. And all the best.
All the best.
All the best.
Hello everyone. I know you are excited to see Sarvesh and Pranav talking to you, talking about the strategies that you should take in 2 years, 3 years of your preparation. But in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to talk to those students who are currently in 12th standard, who are going to appear for JEE Mains in the month of January. Now, if you are going to wait for another 10 minutes, it's going to be a life-changing moment for you. So are you guys really excited? I know you are. But before we go ahead, let me just say that is it even possible to get 180 plus in just next 30 or 40 days? This is the question I am asked a lot of times from kids, from parents, and my answer is it depends. It depends upon you, it depends upon how much hard work you are going to put, and also it depends on the strategy. Yes, parents and friends, the strategy is so very important in the next 30-40 days that if followed properly, it is going to change your life forever. Now, what is this strategy? Before even I talk about the subjects, the preparation plan, I will just ask you to ponder upon one thing. When you go and play a sport, you not only know your weaknesses and strength, but you also know your opponent's weakness and strength. And in this case, the JEE Main or the exam itself is your opponent. And until unless you go and understand its strengths and weaknesses, you are not going to beat it. So the first thing and the first rule is, do we understand that which subject is important? How much time should we give to which subject? Should we start with our 11th revision or should we focus more on 12th? Now these are the few questions that you need answer, which I am going to tell you in few minutes time. But before that, let's go and talk about different subjects, its importance, and how you are going to plan in the next 30-40 days. So are you guys excited or not? I know you guys are excited. So let me see a lot of yours in the chat box. Awesome guys. I can see a lot of yours in the chat. So great. And now let me just go ahead and actually talk to you regarding each subject in detail. So first I will talk about chemistry. Now you can clearly see over here that in chemistry there is an equal weightage of physical, organic and inorganic, which means that your preparation should be planned in such a way that you put almost equal focus on each of the three portions, and you can pick up any of the strongest portion, for example organic or physical or inorganic, and master it in the next 30-40 days. Why I have chosen chemistry as a first subject is because in the next 30-40 days it is possible to increase your marks by 50 or 60 in this subject alone. So those who are at this point of time getting 20 or 30 marks in chemistry, there is a possibility to score more than 90 plus only in chemistry, and those who are scoring high around 50 or 60, there is a possibility of getting 100% marks in chemistry. Yes, my dear friend and parents, definitely it is possibility to get 100% marks in the subject of chemistry. Now what to do in that, let's go ahead and see. In the subject of chemistry, the best part is that it takes less time to attempt the paper. The 30 questions of chemistry will take not more than 30 minutes in the exam hour, and that saves you time and that gives you extra time for your physics as well as maths. Now the second point is that obviously I have said that you can score even 100% in this 30 or 40 days preparation. Now what are the things that you should be doing in the subject is important to look and ponder. The first thing that is written over here is follow NCERT. Now as you have already heard these toppers, they have talked about NCERT and its importance, and in fact Pranav was mentioning that it is this subject which requires not only 1 time or 2 times, but you should actually go ahead and read it 3 to 4 times, because the first time when you read, you will feel that it is not everything is given. And the best way to do, which I always tell the students, I will just write it down, is that you should pick up NCERT. Now this is what you will pick up. You will then practice questions which is objective in nature, and then again go back to NCERT. What does this mean? That NCERT पहले read किया, उसके बाद just after that you follow any objective book, solve from it, and go back to NCERT and look for those questions which you have not been able to answer, or those questions in which you committed mistake, right? if you follow it 2 or 3 times, trust me, this is a subject which alone can give you 90 plus marks in the next 30-40 days. Highly scoring, you cannot ignore it, and definitely you cannot leave it, right? And then obviously, as I said, you have to follow it by objective book, because reading cannot alone solve your problem. Now, once you are done with that, because I have told you to master this subject, you are going to do the previous year paper as well. So chemistry में कुछ भी नहीं leave करना है हमें NCERT करना है, objective follow करना है, and then previous year के questions भी करने हैं. Now, obviously, while doing all this, there will be lot of important points which you may not be knowing from the previous reading, or from your coaching, or from whatever you have studied. So make a important note for the last minute revision, because chemistry is the subject which you are even going to revise a day before, right? Physics and maths obviously you are not going to revise, but chemistry you definitely are going to revise even a day before or 2 days before. Therefore prepare a very good note copy for all these points to be covered. But there are many students who say that, sir, I'm not very good in chemistry, I don't want to put a lot of efforts. For all of you, I have created easy kill topics. Easy kills are those topics which are very easy to and also lot of questions come from these topics. So what are these easy kill topics? We'll just quickly go and look at this easy kill topics. Now these topics, there is a weightage of 40 to 50% questions are only from these topics, and if you master them, 40 to 50% is guaranteed in this particular subject. But as I said, chemistry is so very important that you are going to master chemistry completely in the next 30-40 days. And that happened with me. I have seen a lot of students under me who has got 90 plus marks in chemistry alone, and they were struggling even to get 50-60 marks in total in JEE Mains. So chemistry is your magic potion, and that is going to turn your life upside down in the next 30-40 days. So please, every one of you, prepare this subject well and give your maximum concentration to this particular subject. Now moving ahead, the second most important subject is maths. Why maths and why not physics is because maths is a subject which, if properly planned and if you practice few questions, you will come to know that JEE Mains, lot of questions can be attempted by substituting the answer or putting some values into it, or by eliminating the options. And therefore, I definitely recommend maths as the second most important topic. So you can pick up your own topic of choice and you can focus in such a way that your aim should be to score 40 marks in this particular subject to 60 marks in this subject. So 90 plus in chemistry, 40 to 50 marks in your mathematics, and the rest similar marks in physics. So again, similarly as chemistry, we'll go ahead and see what is the strategy and why it is important. As I said clearly that this subject is highly predictable with similar type of questions coming every year, and even if you go ahead and practice lot of previous year questions, there is a good possibility that the similar concepts may be asked this year as well. So my dear friends and students, please go ahead and actually change your strategy. If physics is before this, you may want to change your strategy at this point of time and bring mathematics as the second most top priority, right? And obviously, as I said, lot of questions can be solved even by eliminating. But again, I know all of you are waiting for, yes, easy kill topics. So these are the few easy kill strategy topics which you should definitely go ahead and do it. For example, sequence and series. I have seen every year one or two questions coming from this particular topic. So sequence and series from previous year. Straight line in circles is very important, and you should pick up any coaching material or any objective book and you should go ahead and master this particular topic, straight line and circle, because 10% of the questions, which means 3 questions out of 30 questions are directly from straight line and circles. Then is determinant. Determinant is of your 12th standard, and all the topics after that is 12th standard, and definitely a very important topic, because determinant, I've seen that almost 1 or 2 questions are there which are very easy to score, and most of the students, they leave determinants before going to JEE Mains exam. And after that, definite integral, and the last topic, which is vector and 3D, I have seen 3 to 4 questions only from this topic. So these are the easy kill topics of maths. and you are going to master it in order to score 40 to 50% marks in your mathematics subject, which means you can actually score up to 60 marks by doing only these topics. So I know you are all excited, and let me go to my subject, which is physics, and tell you that how you are going to score 50, 60 plus in physics in the next 30-40 days. Now this is the weightage. So mechanics has lot of weightage, and that actually brings a lot of question in your mind that should at this point of time I leave my 12th and focus more on 11th. My dear friend, one thing is very important to understand, that it is the strategy which is going to sail us through, and in that strategy I generally advise students not to focus lot of energy in your weak areas. If already it is weak, you are not going to make it strong, and therefore focus on easy topics and focus on the areas which are your strong areas, right? So never go back and focus on your weak areas at this point of time, because I know most of students who pick up their revision, they start with their weak areas. So this is how this composition is. You can actually look at the entire composition. Even if you do current, electricity, EMI, optics and modern physics, you are going to score 37% marks, and 37 or 40% marks is approximately 48 marks. That what we are looking. So first master these two topics, and then move to electrostatics and magnetism, then to thermodynamics, and then to mechanics. So this is going in a reverse order. So you have to prepare these two topics first, and then mechanics should be given the last priority if you are preparing, right? Until unless you are aiming to score more than 300 marks. Now similarly in physics, the strategy is that I have kept it at the third position, because in the last 4 to 5 years the level of physics has increased, and I have seen a lot of students struggling in the paper. They put up a lot of effort before the exam, and that effort does not reveal in that much or does not yield in that many marks in the paper, and therefore obviously I want your minimum energy to going to physics and maximum to chemistry and then to maths, and obviously it is therefore important to strategize for this subject. So here are the few points. You have to pick up easy topics, and easy topics I'm just going to talk about that in minutes of time. Now because this is the most important topic, and there are a lot of questions which looks very easy, but they are very tricky in nature, and therefore you have to be very, very cautious while attempting the paper. So do not over attempt at all. Now the next thing is that download previous year paper, because I have seen if you are solving from any previous year book, they have omitted lot of very good questions which has been asked in the previous 4 or 5 years, and therefore my recommendation is go to any website, download the last 4 or 5 year paper, and try to solve questions from the topics that you feel are important and easy for you, right? And obviously the last point, you have to try to finish easy topics first from the previous year and then from any objective book, because in chemistry and in maths first was any objective book and then previous year, but here in physics it is first previous year paper and then I have followed any objective book. The reason is that previous year paper will give you a lot of insight what kind of question has been asked from what topic, and the level has increased in the last 4 or 5 years. So moving ahead to the easy kill strategy topics of physics, the most important thing to follow if you are going to follow all these plans, one thing that is going to be very important for all of you is this: believe in yourself. Now this is such an important thing that I have seen a city transform. When we started our previous institute, which was offline in the state of Punjab, in a very small town called Patiala, there was not a single selection from that city. But over the time, currently if you see, almost like 60-70 plus students are going to IIT every year and hundreds of students going to NITs every year. Isn't it magical? Just in 10 years or 12 years of time, the city has transformed. How that happened was not that we did some magic potion and some magic happened into that city. It was the belief. When we started teaching them, we just wanted them to believe in themselves, and once they started believing in themselves, then magic happened, and in that magic they got what they wanted to get. The doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will, and it's your doubt which is created either by your environment, because in environment it can be we teachers, it can be your friends, it can be your parents, but it is your belief which is going to sail through. If you are there with me, just I want every one of you to close your eyes for next 30 seconds and tell yourself a rank that you are going to get. Great. And now I want you to tell it loudly that yes, I am going to get this rank. If you have done that, you are going to get this rank, and just follow this strategy, and my dear friends, you will definitely go ahead and get this rank. So see you soon, guys, and handing over it to Namo sir, who are going to talk about few interesting things. And if you are in any doubt, any problem is there, just talk to me. I'm always available. I'm available at different email IDs. So one email ID is air1@vedantu.com. You can definitely contact me there, or you can contact me through any Vedantu channel. So see you soon. Bye bye, tata, and take care.
Hello my dear students and parents, we are at the end of the Master Talks, and let me tell you, it just gets better. So again, before we get started, let me tell you, we are on a page which shows you the crash course. So if you've just completed the video, you can actually scroll down and have a look at the crash course that we have come up with. Here in this crash course, we are going to expose you to the best teachers in the country. So again, as the page says, want to learn from the teachers who taught All India Rank 1, want to learn from the best teachers in the last 28 days. That's exactly what I'm talking about, my dear students. And let me tell you what is really special about this crash course. This crash course comes to your rescue over there. So let me tell you, my dear students, in the last 28 days, we will cover everything. If someone is not on this page, just scroll down. Let me repeat. If you are watching this on YouTube, you can go to the description and enter this page, because we have a lightning offer in which you can become a part of this life-changing course. But again, this is only for 4 hours, in which you will get the course which is worth 15,000 rupees for just 9,999. So my dear students, let's have a look at who teaches you. The teachers who will teach you are the ones who have designed this course over years, have managed to make this course really useful for especially the students who are in 12th and dropping, just about to give JEE. So this is the JEE crash course, and this is something which Vedantu Master Classes is famous for. Again, this will not just have live classes, but we will also have national test series, my dear students. We will have national test series, so you can also benchmark how you are doing. Apart from that, my dear students, you can also go through the entire detail here, and here this will help you nail your preparation in the last 6 weeks. Okay, so there are 120 hours of live learning, there is 24/7 doubt solving, and there's a lot that will be done. And the most important things, my dear students, is that this is the crash course which will keep you in track for the last few days. So bacha, you can have a look at all the details here. You can see that it starts on the 8th of December. You can have a look at the schedule, everything. And this is the button, but this button will be active only for 4 hours. Please press on this and enroll for this life-changing course. So that was about it, my dear parents and students. Before I say goodbye, let me tell you, we are coming up with a next episode of Vedantu Master Talks very soon. So again, don't forget to like this video, share this video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Vedantu. Apart from that, my dear students, I would like to wish all of you all the very best for your JEE. Crack JEE with flying colors and dream on. Take care. Keep rocking.